Hey everybody, hope you all had a great Turkey Day, if you celebrate, that is. I finally got an opportunity to see the movie Thanksgiving. And I know what you're thinking. Gee, what took so long? Well, to be honest, my November was a very busy one. I was working a lot of extra hours at my job, and then I got the flu, and it really knocked me out for like a week. So, for as long as I've been wanting to see this movie, I wanted to be healthy and well rested if I was actually going to go see it. So, here is your no spoilers review of Eli Roth's latest feature, Thanksgiving. So excited. I freaking loved this movie. I had so much fun, and I'm very relieved to be able to say that. When they announced it was going to be made, I was keeping my fingers crossed. When the trailer released, I was cautiously optimistic, but until I actually saw it, I was wondering if too much time had passed since the original joke trailer was released during the Grindhouse double feature and the project actually getting made. Part of me was worried it was going to be a movie more for modern audiences and less for the old dogs like me who have been wanting this one for 16 years. I mean, in the theater I went to, there were a few high school kids, and I thought, you bastards were barely a gleam in your daddy's nutsack when Grindhouse came out. I was happy to see them, but I wondered which of us would be more entertained. But it was more or less exactly what I was hoping for. Alright, so for the movie itself. Honestly, more than once, I got the feeling that the title could very well have been I Know What You Did Black Friday. The basic plot is last year during Black Friday, a store owner decides to open his department store early. Now, during this event, tragedy strikes, the crowd gets worked up into a frenzy, and a couple people are trampled to death while shoppers scrambled for their free waffle irons. Skip ahead a year, and people connected to the accident are found murdered. Or at least parts of them are found. And I gotta say, for a movie all about turkey, this one serves up a lot more red herring. The whole movie pulls the old, who's the murderer? It could be like half a dozen of the jerks we've met. But it did keep me guessing, and I don't think it was super obvious about it. Most of the time I just let the movie take me for a ride instead of trying to be the jerk who figures it out first. I also feel like the tone of the movie was just about right. It was just campy enough to facilitate the slightly silly tone, but when it was time to deliver the horror, it friggin' delivered. This one could have very easily fallen into horror comedy parody territory, but it never really did. Other than a couple of brief eye rolls, this one was kind of a bog standard classic slasher. And that's exactly what I wanted from this movie. There were a couple of moments where I was like, okay, my God, I get it. This weird shit that's coming up out of nowhere will be important later on, where it's quite obviously setting up something for later. But that is an extremely minor gripe for me. I don't really have a lot to say bad about this movie. My only real complaint, and it's a minor one, but if you're a fan of my show, then you'll know this one is something that I would complain about. It's the almost total and complete lack of any skin. The original trailer had a fair amount of flesh, considering it was only like 140 seconds long. But the movie, I think we got some scrawny dude's abs that had nothing to do with what was going on with the scene, which I thought was kind of weird. And then we got a cheerleader's butt for the briefest of moments. I don't know. I guess I'm just too old to understand this whole idea that we can slaughter a bunch of teenagers like little piggies, but God forbid we see a nipple. It's like liberal Hollywood sat through Super Bowl 38. You know, the one where we watch a bunch of roided up jocks smash each other's brains into concussion pudding with glee, but felt that 3 seconds of Janet Jackson's nipple was just too destructive for society. I guess I just never thought I'd see the day when Hollywood took their cues from W-era Republicans. But I digress. Fantastic gore, good body count, great tension, and a tone that's just silly enough to keep you chuckling, but not so much that you feel like you're watching a comedy with a few horror elements thrown into the mix. This is a classic slasher, and I'm so happy I saw it on the big screen. And I think I'm going to go so far as to say, I think this is now my new favorite Eli Roth movie. I'll definitely be buying this one the moment it releases on physical medium, and if you haven't seen it yet, it totally gets my recommendation.